So to look at the pecs, we need an arm bone for the pecs to grab hold of, because the pecs are like wings, right, leaving the body, going to the arm. So I've roughed a humerus. Please, for the love of God, don't think that that's how you do a humerus. I just needed something in there to have the pecs grab hold of. We'll look at the humerus at a different place and a different time. So what I'm going to do to conceive of the pecs is I'm going to start with the disc shape. This isn't the correct way of doing it. There is no correct way of doing anything when it comes to anatomy, but this is one way that gives us a couple of things that that I like to use. So firstly, what I'm going to do is point this towards the arm, because anytime when you're dealing with the muscle, you're thinking, where is it coming from, where is it going to, and you kind of string it between those 2 points. So something like this is a very loose conception, and yeah, what this will give me is the fact that the pecs are generally fairly flat across the top, right, and then they have a sharp curve underneath. Now the origin of the pecs is the first 2/3 of the clavicle along here, so that's going to be grabbing all of that, and then right the way down the sternum through here. Then it cuts across, so what you're getting is kind of like a C shape, and it's grabbing hold of the rib cage and this tendon down there. And so after that, then I just need to pull it towards the arm. Let me pull that arm forwards a bit, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a stretch. Okay, something like this. Pull it over, grabbing hold of the outside portion of the humerus there. Okay, so that's got us something. Nothing very pecky at the moment, but actually this conception doesn't need that much of an adjustment to get it pecky. What I'm going to do is observe how this top triangle comes down furthest. So the pectoralis has this kind of like a candy wrapper twist going on, where the top portion comes down furthest, the bottom portion comes up higher. I'm just going to fake through here, not faking that very well at all. Okay, I'm going to ignore that for the time being, and then I'll fake it better in a minute. Let's move this arm in towards the body. This is feeling like it's going to be a touch dislocated if I keep it there. Okay. Let's pull that pec back in. And then through here, what I want is a kind of S curve. Okay, I'm going to pause the video while I fix this indentation problem I've got here. Okay, and then we were talking about this S movement, right? So I want to look into that a little bit. So what's happening is the pecs are curving at the bottom through there. But because this bottommost portion, this might be better if I draw all this in. So we have that top portion coming down furthest, and then the next portion will come down slightly less far. That would come down to there or something like that. The next one slightly less far again, and then you basically have this spiral where this bottom section is going to come up to the highest portion. So what that means is through here, this all starts twisting around. Because you've got the bottom portion coming high and the top portion coming low, that's giving you this kind of hook shape through there. And that you'll see in life. With really big pecs, it may look just more like a C curve through there as the arms are pushed against the body, but then take a look at when the arms come away from the body and you'll start to see that curve really clearly. So the list of things that I'm looking for on the pecs: grabbing hold of the 2/3 of the clavicle there, the whole of the sternum, then going into this C curve at the bottom that is roughly at a level with the bottom of the sternum, more or less, and then going to the outside of the humerus through there. And then that twist, you know, the twist is a fun little thing to take with the pecs, but what's more important is that curve through there. And you know, just take the arm away from the body, stretch your arm out, and you'll see that curve, no doubt. And then generally I would go fairly flat plane, sharp curve underneath. Right, the more developed the pecs are, the more rounded they're going to be. But even in pretty big, like bodybuilder kind of pecs, you can still get it fairly flat, fairly planar with a sharp curve on the bottom. So that's generally what I would look for. And it's a similar pattern with the female breast as well. Should we stick a breast on here? Yeah, why not? Okay, so the breast we would look at as like a sphere of tissue, right, that sits towards the bottom of the pec. And well, the reason why I was thinking of going on to this is that the thing that I was talking about with the pecs, where you have sharp curve on top, sharp plane on top. I'm going to try this third time. Flat plane on top, sharp curve underneath. That's the same pattern in the breasts. So where you'll go wrong here is if you just go big round boobies like this. This gives you like a symbolic Michelangelo style breast, right? It looks like an apple or something like that. You can get more of that roundedness to it. It is going to vary in person to person, from person to person, but generally that flat plane with a sharp curve is indicative of what's happening because you have gravity pushing down there. It's the same reason why the pec has that same shape, and the gluteal mass, if we had it in here, would have the same shape, right? It's a big massive meat resisting to gravity, and the longer that you have that fight against gravity, the more that's going to come down, and the flatter that plane is going to be at the top, and the sharper that curve is going to be at the bottom. So yeah, that will vary from person to person. And in the breast, by the way, the nipples are generally going to be pointing upwards and outwards, or at least they would be for kind of like a pert young breast. If you put them on the down plane, and this goes the same for men, if you put them on the down plane, it can work, but it's just going to give it a saggier feeling. So on the pectoralis, or on the male chest, we've got this plane break happening more or less there, and the nipple is going to be somewhere around that plane break, something like that. Again, pointing more upwards and outwards. If you stick it on the down plane, then it can certainly happen, but it's going to have a different sort of feel. If the pecs aren't that visible, you're more likely to see the striations of the ribs through there. So when you have lean pecs, that's the form you're seeing. When you have more muscular pecs, you'll see this form, and you may start to see the separation of the muscular bundles of the pecs. And this top one is generally the most dominant, by the way. So if you're looking at someone where you can start to see those striations, you'll start to get a feeling for that. Then you may start to feel like these individual breaks through there. But that's when you start to get into the territory of very, very muscular or very upper body heavy sort of physiques. Yeah, I think that's all I'd want to say for the pecs. So I only touched briefly on the function. So function is, it's originating from here and it's inserting there, and it pulls the arm towards the body. So it's going to be an action like this, and especially that, right? Because it's pulling that point towards that point there. Because it's going to the outside of the arm, right, not the inside, it can spin it towards the inside. So you can also get that sort of movement. Let's try and do that more correctly. Nope. So that kind of thing. Right, and you'll see this in bodybuilding contests and stuff like that, where they're trying to get the pecs to really bulge. They'll rotate that humerus in, and that's going to make the pec bulge. So it's pulling the arm in towards the body. It's also twisting the arm in towards the body. Again, you don't need to memorize that if you think about what is actually happening. So any muscle on the front of the body is going to be pulling something towards the front of the body. It kind of has to. So because it's starting on the body and it's going to the arm, it cannot do anything else other than pull the arm in towards the body. Right? To catch the fact that it's spinning the arm, yeah, you've got to be a bit tricky. You've got to be a bit observant, but it's all there for you to figure out if you're thinking about this stuff in the right way. All right, let's leave it at that for the pecs, and then the next video we'll spin around to the back and take a look at those muscles on the scapula.